John, you ready? Bob? Everybody? All right, I'd like to open this closed session meeting today of February 9th, 2026. Time is 4:01. Anna, you want to give us a roll call?
Councilmember Miller,
Here.
Councilmember Thorpe,
Here.
Councilmember Woolsey. Here. Deputy Mayor Beaver,
Here.
Mayor Venable,
Here.
all present.
All right. So we'll go to closed session, and it is 4:02. You're all right. Okay. John, you ready? Bob? Judy? Yeah. All right. We'll open the regular city council assessors meeting, February 9th, 2026. Time is 6 o'clock. Can we get Pastor David to give us a avocation? And Christine Muller, will you lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance afterwards? All right.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this evening, Lord. And Lord, we thank you that this council here, Father, puts you first before anything. Father, we just ask you to direct them and lead them, Father God, as they carry on with decisions here made. We thank you, Father, for all that you do. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 All right. Thank you. City Clerk, can we get roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Here.
Councilmember Thorpe,
Here.
Councilmember Woolsey. Here. Deputy Mayor Beaver,
Here.
Mayor Venable.
Here.
All present.
Mr. Attorney, is there anything to report out of closed session?
Thank you, thank you, Mayor. For the first item, the council gave settlement direction by consensus. There's no other reportable action out of tonight's closed session.
All right. City Manager, is there any changes to the agenda?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Staff's going to recommend item number 8 to withdraw the item. However, we recommend that you keep the item open, take in public comment if anyone's interested here in hearing the public comment. Staff will renotice it and bring it back at a later time.
Okay. All right, now, special presentation, YAPS.
Thank you, Council. My name is Jennifer Hurlbut, and I'm the Executive Director of Yucaipa Animal Placement Society, YAPS. And our dog of the month is Luna. She is right over here. She is looks like a black lab Great Dane, but she's a Great Dane chocolate lab, and she's about 3 years old now. One of the programs we have had in the past year is a small grant to accept pets from domestic violence situations. So if we are still having funding with that grant, then we're able to accept pets from dangerous situations. We did have 4 from her family, and now we've just got 1 left. And she's a great girl, big, lots of energy. I didn't have any small fluffies this time. We ran out. So we are still accepting surrender applications from people in the community who need help with their pets. So I want to talk about a couple things that we do have for help for people in the community. First is this Thursday, we have our vaccine clinic. So we provide free vaccines from Petco Love Foundation. We also have low-cost Bordetella vaccines and leptospirosis. There has been an increase in worry about that in Grand Terrace and local areas. So it's only a $20 shot, and if any animals go out for walks or on hikes, it's a good idea for them to have that. Additionally, that day we are supplying the community with a pet supply pantry. So emergency food, collars, leashes, things that we get at YAPS that we're not able to use immediately for our pets, then we give back to the community of Yucaipa. So that is from 10 to 12 on this Thursday. That evening, we're also hosting bingo night, $5 bingo in Redlands at Escape Brewery. And finally, our Love at First Bark event. That is on Saturday, February 14th. So free pup cups for your dogs. Come on out and make them a little treat. And all of the funds go to, for that event, go back into YAPS for the pets. The last thing I wanted to mention is we were able to successfully get all the pets vaccinated and for rabies and spayed and neutered with half of the grant from the city of Yucaipa. That was $5,000. And we'll be sending in those reports soon, and hopefully we'll be able to receive the second half of that until the next funding cycle comes around. So we do have a huge waiting list of Yucaipa residents who have pets in their homes who do need to be spayed or neutered, and we're very grateful for that grant from the city of Yucaipa. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are we getting a picture?
You want to take a picture with the big girl? Nobody can pick her up, though. She's a little heavy. Oh, nice, nice. The last one, we had to use a ramp just to give her a bath, to get her in the bathtub. Only the mayor. Luna. So Luna's gonna have to look right behind you, Ollie. Sit. Sit. Good girl. She's gorgeous. Isn't she pretty?
All right. 1, 2, Luna, over here. No, it's not working. Oh yeah, that was good. Good job, Luna. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was good. All right.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Where's the good girl? It's a good size for you guys.
I think Mr. Beaver needs another dog.
What? No.
All right. Now, Miss Mary Reuter, we'd like to present you with a nice little certificate. This is in recognition of your dedication and service to the Yucaipa Chamber of Commerce, for your commitment, leadership, tireless efforts, and have made lasting and meaningful impact on the city of Yucaipa. We want to thank you for everything you've done for the city and the chamber. So we'd like to have you come up and, can we get a picture of it? No.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
So, Ms. Anna, do we have any public comment?
We do. Richard Frost, followed by Hanson Wong.
Want to remind everybody, you may get 3 minutes, and please state your name and your address, please. Thank you.
Richard Frost, Yucaipa. Yeah, I used to ride Omnigo quite a bit, you know, the local bus. It's part of Omnitrans, but it's a company called Transdev. And about a year ago, the driver accidentally closed the door on my wrist, and I got a small settlement from Omnitrans. So as kind of a revenge, I guess, I don't know, whatever, he took off real fast when I was going to take the shuttle there, and I was forced back into the seat. Happened twice, same driver. And then I called Supervisors Rao office since it's a Omnitrans is county. And they said they check into it, and they did, and they came back and they said, well, we didn't want to get involved in this. So it's, so I don't take it's the same driver. He's been there for a while. I'm not going to name the driver's name. And they've had different problems. There's some people complain about all the vaping on that bus, and they've had fights over there. And they keep that one driver on because he's the only driver that'll work in Yucaipa because of some of the students there. They have a reputation, and they're desperate to get a driver to drive that shuttle. And in the evening, the daytime is no problem, but the nighttime and that kind of thing. So I thought
bus number or route or something?
Ms. Woolsey, like to know if you know what bus number or what route?
Yeah, it's the Omnigo 19. It's the 19 in the evening, and I think it's called Omnigo. It's the shuttle. It's the evening one. They go Monday through Friday, and they had the same driver there forever. And one time when I did complain, he got out and started shouting at me, saying I'm trying to get him fired and to stop complaining about him. So it's.
Thank you.
Hanson Wong, followed by Mary Reuter.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Hanson Wong, 3515 3550 Court Street, Yucaipa, California. So a couple of things. One delightful thing is that what Robin Jensen is doing on Saturday mornings with the walk is still going along really well. People are coming to it, and we're still getting support from local businesses. The ones I'll add tonight is one of our new ones that if you haven't been there, Buffalo Wild Wings. They have a sort of a healthy wrap and a healthy salad, and they donated one of each of those. Village Bread has sourdough bread there in Calamasa, but they also donated for the walk. And there's some place called Happy Mediums in Calamasa that has sandwiches, and basically most of the menus fairly healthy as well. So we're getting some support from our local businesses, and we're getting people to come to the walk, and I'm happy for that. One other issue that you brought up at your closed session, I want to thank you for trying to resolve the issue of the Coinman property. It's probably not an easy thing, but I'd like to express my opinion that to possess that piece of land would be something that I feel would be fraught with danger for our city. We don't have the budget to develop it into some kind of entertainment area like we had thought in the past, and that if we own it, if we had to sell it, then it would allow certain things to be built there that would be a problem and would change the landscape of that upper area that we so enjoy. So I would suggest thinking of other options. The last thing is April 25th is Run for the Hills in that same area so that you can enjoy that area that's being supported by Healthy Yucaipa Committee. And so I think about coming to that and enjoying a walk, if not a run. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mary Reuter.
Well, hello again. Mary Reuter. I live at 10060 Carroll Drive on the North Bench. And I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, thank you for the recognition. You touched my heart. So I appreciate it. The other thing I wanted to say is that the chamber is always here for businesses. Even though I have stepped away from the board of directors, I am still a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I will continue to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. The chamber has been absolutely integral in my business for many, many years. I wouldn't have my store on California Street if it weren't for the chamber and Scott Ward, who is behind me. When I was having some issues before I opened and I was terribly distressed, I happened to stop by the chamber office, and the then employee, executive director of the chamber, said, "What's wrong?" Burst out crying because I couldn't get this resolved and I'd worked on it for weeks. She gave me Scott's name and card, and she said, "Give him a call," and within 2 days, the issue was resolved. So this is the kind of thing that the Chamber of Commerce can do to help businesses. I will continue to be a member, to go to events, even though I won't be doing all the work that I have been doing for several years for the Chamber. So now I get the opportunity to focus on A, my business, and B, my family, in no particular order though, and C, on my activism. So I will continue to do that. So I thank you. I will still be at council meetings, as many as I can possibly make. I will let y'all know when you do great things, like Mayor Venable, since you have been our mayor, wow, the attendance from city employees, from our city manager and board member, council members, has been absolutely amazing at city events. Our police officers have been to chamber meetings, and the chamber absolutely loves and appreciates that. So please, keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no more comments.
All right. Does anybody have any conflicts or interest or anything to disclose?
Mayor, I did want to note in the minutes that Council Member Miller had a conflict on item D from closed session because he owns property within 500 feet of that, the property that's subject to that litigation. He announced his recusal and stepped out of the room during that portion of closed session.
Okay. All right, now it's to the consent agenda. This is items 1 through 4. Does anybody have any of them that they want to pull?
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second. I'll second.
So we got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now, item number 5, Mr. Phil.
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the City Council. Item 5, we've got the monthly treasurer's report. This was a good time to revisit this item and just clarify a couple of things on it and highlight a couple of things on it. The council does receive this report monthly. It's a report of our portfolio, investment portfolio balances. This is for the December 31st, 2025 month. And you get this regularly, monthly, within 45 days of month end. The purpose of this item is disclosure, and specifically highlighted there in the red box, those two disclosures is the purpose, the important thing that you want to take away from this report. And number 1 is all investment actions executed since the last report have been made in full compliance with the investment policy. That's a required disclosure in these reports. If we had any non-compliant transactions in the portfolio, we would not be making that statement. And this is that is Dr. Moore's signature there. He certifies this on a monthly basis as the treasurer. And then the second one is the city will meet its expenditure obligations for the next 6 months. So that liquidity disclosure, if we were having cash flow issues at the city, again, it would be highlighted there. These are minimum requirements. And so that's not to say that after 6 months, we will not meet our obligations. It's the required disclosure is at least 6 months out, you have to say if you have cash flow issues. And so each month, you will see those things. Those are the important things. You guys see a lot of different things as you see this item. The important thing is those two disclosures are there. We don't have any non-compliance, and we're going to pay all of our, we have the liquidity to pay all of our bills. A couple other things. In the green boxes up on top, the first section is our long-term portfolio. So we have cash in there, that's a money market fund. We have government issues, those are treasuries and federal agencies. We have some corporate bonds that are in there, and we have municipal bonds that are in there. These are, the allowable investments are restricted by government code. And then for the city of Yucaipa, it's further restricted by our investment policy that gets updated on an annual basis. And then our treasurer can further restrict what we actually invest in. And so I have had some discussions with Dr. Moore on making sure that even though these are legal and authorized investments, even narrowing that further to say, hey, we want to be very safe with the city's money. And so we have had those conversations just because we can, it's allowed for us to invest in. We don't invest in everything that we can. It's very plain vanilla stuff, primarily treasuries. Even the corporate bonds that are there, those are holdovers from 4 or 5 years ago. And so as those are maturing, we're reinvesting that money in even safer types of investment, specifically treasuries and federal agencies. Some CDs in there as well. The next box is what we use to control our cash flow, and that's LAIF, Local Agency Investment Fund. So that's a very short term. It's almost like a money market fund, and we can move money in and out as we need. If we have a big check run, we'll bring money down. If we get a lot of money in, we'll send money up to LAIF. So it's a short-term investment. Our city checking account with Wells Fargo is there too, obviously very liquid. You might see on the December column, we've got $15 million in Wells Fargo. The Wells Fargo account does not earn interest. And so we like to keep a benchmark amount in Wells Fargo and send any excess up into LAIF. In December, what happened at the very end of December was, based on timing, we get a property tax payment in December. And so we get a big chunk of money that lands in our account. And in order not to look silly, I try to move it out as quickly as I can, but the month rolled over, so that was sitting in our account. Right after month end in early January, that moved back up into LAIF. And so that's why that is kind of spiked there, even from the previous month. That's what goes on there. So up on top, we've got those funds under control of the city. That golden box is held and managed by other agencies, and that's primarily debt-related funds. So the Chapman Heights CFD has money with fiscal agents, and then as the successor agency to the former redevelopment agency, the former RDA had debt, had bonds outstanding, and these are the reserve accounts and things like that. The city has those on our balance sheet, but we don't control those and manage those, so you see them on a monthly basis, but we're not investing that money, we're not controlling that money. You might see that in total, we went from $53 million in November up to $63 million in December. So we picked up $10 million of cash. These are all pooled, and so you don't hear me saying general fund, public safety fund. It's all, city money is all pooled together. But that increase of $10 million, you might wonder, hey, is that really good? Is that out of the norm? Are we doing better than normal? It's always good to pick up $10 million, but it's the typical cash flow for the city of Yucaipa. So I did put this other slide together. This is a historical, at least recent historical portfolio balances. And that center golden loop is the December timeframe. And you can see our normal cash flow. Our high point historically is January. Our low point is October and November. And again, that's primarily due to the property tax payments that are coming in. And so even though we picked up $10 million, typically we're picking up a significant amount between November and December. We pick up more in January, and January is typically our high point. It goes back down because we're not getting those big payments. But then in April, we get another big payment, and that's that typical spike there in April. And so our historical cash flow, each one of those bars is a year, and we're picking up a little bit every single year. And so You can see that half bar is December, where we are now. We're picking up a little bit year after year, but the $10 million is just part of the normal cash flow. I did want to highlight all of those things, and I'm happy to answer any further questions. This is typically a receive and file by the city council.
Yeah.
Ms. Wilson?
Yeah, thank you. You kind of answered one question I have on the city checking account with the Wells Fargo. I noticed there's a big jump there, about $9 million. Is any of that Measure S?
Yeah, so yes, everything that the city receives, any type of payment, lands in our city checking account. So property tax, regular sales tax, Bradley Burns, Measure S, grant reimbursements, charges for services, YPAC sales, everything eventually makes its way into that account. And so everything lands there, and then we move it out or leave it in there if we're going to pay bills. All the bills get paid out of that account as well. And so that's just kind of a holding spot. Everything comes in, hits that spot, and then moves out from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
John? Bob?
So regarding Measure S, I know we had the Oversight Committee give a briefing last council meeting, and it was speculated that we as a city are realizing more of that tax revenue than maybe originally projected. When will we have a full understanding of that? And do you as our finance director plan on bringing that matter to us, or is it going to strictly be the Oversight Committee that prepares a report for our information?
Yes, great. Yeah, so there was some good news that came out of the presentation from the chair of the Oversight Committee. Yes, we have mid-year coming up scheduled for the next council meeting. We'll have a little bit tighter of a projection on where we are. It is good news on the Measure S front. Certainly, we were flying into it blind. It was just starting up. We wanted to be conservative. We do not want to miss revenue estimates. And so what we thought was conservative, as it's playing out, it appears that we, in fact, were conservative on that. And so you'll get an update in a couple of weeks on the 23rd, I believe, for mid-year. And then as we go into the next budget cycle, we'll be talking a lot about Measure S and what next year's projection is going to look like. And so you'll have much more information. But yes, the Measure S Oversight Committee did get that news, and the chair did deliver some of that. You'll get more of that from me in a couple of weeks, starting in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the reason I ask is, and I don't want to get too far ahead because we'll give some kind of a briefing at the end of the council meeting, but we had our Public Safety Committee ad hoc, and as everybody's aware, Measure S was supposed to and will help our public safety in the city of Yucaipa. And we're starting to we're receiving reports from our public safety officials that, especially on the fire side of things, there's some expenditures that have to be made. So it's good news that we are coming in over, but that's hardly money in the bank. That's just in order to provide the basic services that the city of our size requires now. We're going to have to dip into that exclusively on public safety. So I think at the end of the council meeting, we'll be a little bit more detailed on our reporting out of a public safety committee meeting, but certainly in light of recent events, both for law enforcement, but also for fire, we've got to be on the ball. And so money might need to be spent to add a layer of safety and protection to our community. So thank you for the report.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Now we have.
Mayor,
yes,
can we
ma'am.
get a motion to receive and file that item, please?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now with Ben Matlock, the discussion of the car washes.
Mayor, Council, before Ben gets started, I want to just, we're going to talk about the car washes, but I want to preface everything ahead of time before his presentation. And what I wanted to bring to your attention, and things have changed with these car washes. Every city across Southern California is experiencing these car wash explosion. But it's changing. First, it was the standalone automated, and as the council's aware and the community, it's changing. We're starting to see car washes now, as even in our community here at the city of Yucaipa, we're starting to see them be included now as part of gas stations. They're part of other types of uses, convenience stores. They're a thing now, so I just wanted to put that out there and preface that before Ben gets his presentation on the direction we receive, but I want to bring that up to you, that these things are evolving constantly, and they are integrating themselves with some of our sales and gas tax producing uses too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Moore, and thank you all, Mayor and City Council members. Just want to follow up with you guys. On October 27th, 2025, the City Council had received a presentation on a few different ways to curtail the proliferation of car washes kind of moving forward, and there were a few different options presented. Ultimately, City Council recommended working towards a kind of buffer or separation requirement between car wash uses. So staff did analyze kind of a few different radiuses of what would kind of be excluded. So on the map exhibit here, as well as what's in the agenda packet, the gray kind of signifies all of our commercially zoned areas, so areas potentially that could house a future car wash location. The dots in the middle are existing car washes or those under construction. And then we had kind of three typical buffers, 500 feet, 1,000 feet, 1,500 feet. And so based on this direction, it will certainly curtail kind of future development of car washes within kind of these spheres, and want to confirm if there was a distance that was desired. But alternatively, certainly there are some gray areas where car washes could still show up, and so wanted to confirm if there was a radius you wanted to go with, or if this, based on seeing how the radiuses interact with certain areas, if there's other direction that the City Council would like us to consider before we finish an ordinance and take it to Planning Commission for their recommendation. And that concludes my presentation.
Bob?
Thank you for the update. I'm glad we're starting with car washes. I hope that's not the final conversation. I hope that we can have the conversation relative to service stations as well. And I made the comment the last time we discussed this. Unless the numbers say something different, for just the sake of a round number, if the city of Yucaipa has 1,000 gallons of fuel sold in the city in a 24-hour period, do we believe that allowing for more more service stations will increase that number of gallons sold? Or are we just spreading the numbers out from one business to another and still having the net 1,000 gallons of fuel sold in a 24-hour period? Do we have any data that can support that? Because if you say, council, if we put more gas stations in, we're going to see a lot more fuel sales. And if there's any data that can back that up, then sure, I guess. But I don't think that I don't see the lines at fuel stations so long that I think we're justifying, well, if we build more, we'll have more fuel sales. People are skipping Yucaipa altogether because there's just not enough gas stations to go other places to get fuel. I submit that we probably, at this point, have capped the amount of fuel cell in our city. And so when I see the one that's being built, it looks like maybe a Chevron, I don't know, going out there on Oakland Road and 13th Street, between Freedom Fuels and AM/PM, it makes me wonder why. And is that truly the best use of that land for our city? Could there be something else commercial there that would bring in more revenue for our city, or provide a better service to the people who call this place home? Or because it's in close proximity to the highway, even people who are passing through. This is commercial land that, again, I've said it, I think, and yes, eventually people can mitigate a fuel station and build something else there. But it's not as easy as taking it from a restaurant to or a kids play zone to an ice skating rink or whatever, roller skating rink. So, and it's not about, I drive internal combustion vehicles. I don't drive an electric car. I don't hate gas stations, but I love my hometown. And if there's something better that can be built there, why aren't we as a community, as planners, saying it doesn't make sense? We're not doing anything. We're not helping our business, our city at all by allowing that to go there, unless there's an articulable fact. No. With this fuel station, we're going to see an impressive revenue increase. So if you can articulate that, then I'll come off my soapbox on the fuel station matter. And to that point, the car wash. I don't think that people are lining up at our car washes going, man, I really wanted to spend money on a car wash, but the line was just too damn long. So I'm going to go somewhere else and not do it today. So do you have any data that can support why we as a city are not taking a more hands-on approach to developing and planning out our community for the betterment of our community?
So in terms of the land uses that get approved, ultimately, these new projects do go to the Plan Commission. Based on the rules that we have adopted and the policies that are in place, that is the guidance that we offer. For certainly, in terms of land uses and car washes as a whole, and fuel stations, there is probably to some degree of cannibalization of sales where one spot isn't doubling the total net is some reduction. There are certainly exceptions where if you're along the freeway, probably the clientele that you can get from that, especially for, as an example, City Cal Mesa recently issued a notice of intent to adopt an MND for a truck stop kind of style gas station. So certainly that type of fueling and the sales from there is going to be quite a bit different than just a infill type of gas station within a city. And so certainly a little bit more dynamics to it, but ultimately we offer guidance to applicants based on the policies and provisions that we have adopted, and then the Plan Commission weighs in on those specific uses, and if they find it acceptable, then that's the findings that they go. For the example you mentioned for the Chevron station, there are a number of other buildings that are going to be part of that center, plus a Tesla charging station. So I think as part of the Plan Commission's review, they found it a little bit more dynamic than just a gas station, but certainly those points are well considered.
So do we as a city feel that we should have more fuel stations and thereby increase our tax revenue? Is that Dr. Moore? Phil? I know that our tax revenue, I think fuel is the number one tax for the city, the highest sales tax revenue for our city. But my question is, do we, from the strategy standpoint, do you gentlemen feel that by building more, we're going to see a remarkable increase on our sales tax?
We'd have to, Mayor, Council, that's a good question. We could, bring this item back to you for more information and check with HDL and find out how much fuel is being pumped, because they keep track of the gas tax receipts, and bring that back to you and give you a detailed report. I will say that we, staff is following the general plan and the zoning ordinance that was adopted, the future blueprint of the city. But of course, those things can change. General plans are adopted to, last 10 to 20 years. The market's changing every 5 years now, we're finding, even sooner than that. But we definitely, not every plan's perfect. We could bring something back and for reconsideration. And like Ben mentioned, the commission, these are use permits, conditional use permits, right, Ben? So the commission can deny them for certain findings if they are not compatible. There's an over-concentration of those types of uses. We definitely could look at that too, when we write up these staff reports and we're working with applicants and developers.
My final thought on the matter, if Chevron didn't go on the corner of Oakland at 13th, what business could potentially go there that might be better for the community? And we're clogging up, prime real estate with something that is right next door. Whereas if we were to put something else there, we might actually have more sales tax revenue generated for the, and look at, we hear it all the time, we don't want to, there's a lot of stuff we don't want to build in the city, but we need sales tax revenue to support the gentleman in green to my left, and to get our a squad potentially for paramedics and these other things. We need it. And I just want to be strategic. And if gas stations are the answer, then cool. But I don't think they are. From my one seat, I think we can do better as a strategy for the community, really marketing or helping find what is best for the community. And I think we should be like, no, we don't need that. So, and again, and we've heard this before, moratoriums are bad, but let's be strategic. Again, Oakland and Bryant, 7-Eleven just opened up a fuel station. I have no qualms about that. There's no fuel stations that service that area. That makes sense. That's a strategy. I think people passing through might veer off into Yucaipa instead of going down in Mentone to buy fuel. That was a good one, because there's nothing else there, and it's not even on our map yet. But where I see the 7-Eleven on the corner of Bryant and
Yeah, so this is just a discussion on the car washes. When we had done the presentation.
Understood.
For fuel stations, it was opted not to move forward here.
I see. Okay, apologies then. But even still, that one I have no problems with. And so I know we've kind of branched off from car wash, but since you brought it up and said car washes and fuel stations are kind of going hand in glove, I think it's worth mentioning that you're right. Even if we say, hey, car washes, what is that, standalone car washes? Now we still have another one, Chevron has a car wash in their operation. Well, you didn't specifically address a joint mixed use of fuel station and car wash, so we're gonna find a loophole. It doesn't make sense to me. And so I'm glad we're taking a step in the right direction, but I think we can do better.
Thank you, Justin. Bob?
Thank you, Mayor. I think originally when we talked about those two issues, we had talked about, I had a meeting with Dr. Moore over this on the HDL report, which is our tax revenue that we can use to pay for services in our town. And we had talked about that, and ironically, I'd worked in a town where truck stops and diesel repair businesses were the highest revenue generators, man. Now, I'm not advocating for that specifically, but they were the big generators. I think when we started talking about this, it came off a conversation that we had, I agree with the deputy mayor, that we get calls of, you got too many car washes, or you run into people, why do you have car washes next to each other? Now, in a capital system, people can build on their property what they want to build, but there was just too much of a cluster of car washes popping up everywhere, not necessarily the gas station car wash model that we see now. But I understood where the public was saying that. I heard it quite a bit, actually, and I talked to the deputy mayor about it, and there was that opinion that you just have too many car washes popping up. Now, it's anecdotal evidence. It was just people talking, but there was if you drive up and down the boulevard and around, there was a lot of car washes. God bless them. I hope they make money. But from the tax revenue side, there is some revenue generation from gas stations, and I'm sure car washes too, but more from the fuel tax, or the fuel money they make, and repairs if they had that. So I think it's where we started on this conversation, and I agree with the deputy mayor and the revenue generation. It's usually one of the big ones in HDL report we receive quarterly. But do we want more car washes? I think that's where this started. In late summer, we started talking about it. There's a lot. I would like the Planning Commission to be able to vet these. I trust the planning commissioners will make good decisions on if they think it's concentrated too much or to vet them. That's why we have a Planning Commission to look at it. I don't know I think one of the suggestions was a moratorium. I don't know if we need to go there, but maybe I think Planning Commission should have a chance at this to, if they see an overconcentration, to recommend, it's too many, and to look at the thing holistically. Because I think that's where we started with this. If I'm wrong, correct me, please, from the dais. But so we have a tax revenue issue that we want to look at. Obviously, we're talking about that as we get ready for budget here at mid-year, and then we have the sight of just car washes all over the place. And I think Planning Commission can help us with that. I think we have a good Planning Commission. They can look through that. If it's over-concentrated, they will probably approve or not approve the plan, and then you guys in your business will do a good job of either approving or not. I think Dr. Moore has a lot of savvy in this area on planning and development and understands this. I've been very impressed, my conversations with him about future development and how it would work. So I would acquiesce to you, Dr. Moore, to maybe vet this a little bit with Planning Commission in the future, and Ben. That's my take, Mayor, if anybody else has comments.
Okay. Ms. Woolsey?
Yes. First of all, I don't see any car washes closing due to a lack of business. So when that starts to happen, then I will feel that we really have an oversaturation. I have two questions. One for staff. Has there been any study done on our city's car wash count compared per capita to similar communities that are contract cities? Has there been any study done on anything like that?
For comparison to other contract cities?
Yeah, I mean, we're different than what's the other?
I don't think of the information I reviewed from staff, we can definitely,
No,
I don't think we've compared to other, we can look at all cities because they're all experiencing.
Okay, well,
These car wash, gas station, car wash standalones. We can look at, various cities, surrounding cities, as well as contract cities.
Yeah, I'm
Which you're
just
meaning
curious.
like City of Highland, City of Rancho Cucamonga, or City of Grand Terrace. We can certainly
Yeah.
look at their car wash.
Okay, I was just curious about that. And I have a question for my colleagues. What's the next business that we're going to try to restrict? We have 17 nail salons, 32 fast foods, 12 liquor stores, 23 churches, 12 gyms, and 10 grocery stores. So when do we have too many of one of those? I have twice now voted, been opposed to any type of moratorium or restriction because I just don't think we should be doing that. If you do it for one business, then that's going to open the door to do it for another business. So at this point, I'm probably going to just step back and let my colleagues decide what they want to do with this. I don't support any of that.
John, I'm sorry. John.
Ben, what are you looking for? You have a direction on distance between car washes? Is that the goal? Because I think we've kind of gone down a few rabbit holes here.
Yeah, so it's kind of open-ended. The direction was based on this, if there was because the council direction was to go with a proximity-based exclusion. And so based on this, I have 3 different layers, and then in the agenda packet has kind of those broken down into 3 separate maps for visibility. And this is what it would look like if we had those exclusions. So if council wants us to continue with this way, then picking a number would be helpful. But based in light of some of the areas where car washes could still be allowed after the fact, is this buffer radius essentially accomplishing what the goal was going to be in the first place? Is there another direction that council would prefer? Let's say a numerical cap or some other kind of metric in lieu of that, given some of the spaces where it could show up, or it sounds like to some degree consensus on just not having a restriction entirely, and that would kind of render this ordinance effort moot as well.
With looking at your map there, you've got several different buffer zones. It looks like the closest ones are there on Oak Glen Road. So what's the foot mark between those 3 right there?
These are a little, I think one of them is a little more than 500, the other one's a little bit less than 500. And they're just measuring from the sites themselves, not, as the crow flies from one structure to another.
So I think from my standpoint, if you're looking for distance, then I would say nothing less than that. I think that 500 is more than close enough. I kind of like some of the spacing that's going down the boulevard a little better, where you got a little bit of a wider berth between them. If we're putting in our ideas for distance, if that's what we're looking for. I think we've gone down a lot of different other avenues here, and I know there was some mention earlier about trying to guide for other businesses coming into the city. I know initially, several years ago, my frustration with that is that, I'd like to see that we have other types of businesses come in, but staff at the counter is very limited on what you can guide or suggest, because you can't, if it meets that zoning and it's allowed in that area, we can't necessarily prevent them from putting a gas station there. And we don't want to open ourselves up to a lawsuit. No, we can't do it because we don't want it. I mean, if everything there says they can, the property owner wants to put it there. So, I mean, I understand my colleague's frustration and wanting other things. I agree. I think there's a lot of other things in this world we could bring in here for tax revenue and other options and bring other people to our city. And we bring unique things here, then yeah, maybe some of our gas sales would go up because we have some unique features to our city. But that's kind of, we're at the mercy of the property owner, aren't we?
Yeah, ultimately, we can't stop people from applying for any project that they want to. And so based on the provisions we have, we try to guide them the best, highlight some of the issues that are there, but ultimately it's allowed to proceed to a vote by the Planning Commission.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So do we have a motion? I think Buc-ee's. I would be okay with Buc-ee's coming. Am I right? Come on. Anyway, do we have any comment with public comment?
We do. Dennis Miller.
Thank you. Dennis Miller, 35888 Oak Glen Road, Yucaipa. I'd like to offer some assistance to the city council. I'd like to put together a group of commercial brokers, some residential brokers, for each and every one of you to meet with, and it could be as a group or one-on-one or so you get an idea what type of businesses are looking to come into the community and where they want to be located. So you're educated to that. So when you're making decisions, you understand what the trends are. Because we're trying to shape this community, but trends change, values change. We currently have a gas station now with a car wash next to it. He's now looking to build a hotel next to it. When we talk about tax generating revenues, hotel is a good tax generating revenue for you. But I would like to offer that to you. If you'd like me, I can put together a panel for you that you can meet with and educate yourselves to what is happening in the marketplace out there. What businesses are looking to go into what communities and what locations. Because there is definitely a trend out there, and it has changed over the years. The way we shop has made a huge difference. Instead of going to the brick and mortar, we're picking up or getting on our computer and ordering from Amazon. So we need to understand all that. So I'm just offering that to you. If you would like, I can put together, like I said, a group of commercial brokers as well as some residential brokers, so you can be educated on what types of businesses and services are being looked at for the community from their side of the bench. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
No more comments.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll move approval on the item with the recommendation to defer to the Planning Commission for decisions relative to the new application of car washes with a buffer and separation between car washes of 1,500 feet.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed?
No.
All right. Now we have discussion of possible adoption of city council goals.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. So we're getting ready, staff's informed me, we're getting ready to, we're moving forward with our mid-year budget, bringing that to you next council meeting. And then we're already working on our new fiscal year budget. And before we do that, typically here at the city of Yucaipa, we bring forward some goals and objectives. I put together a quick staff report, and we laid out some possible goals and priorities set by the council. By all means, we're looking for some input from you, Mayor and Council. And I'll be real quick on this. As I've learned in talking with you and listening to staff, I know we want to continue to enhance transparency for the community. Delivered a balanced budget that ensures revenues cover ongoing expenditures. That was a big thing I've heard over and over. I know I started in January, but I was working with you guys ahead of time a little bit, listening to everyone and listening to the folks, and that's one thing I picked up right away. Ensure public safety has the necessary tools and resources. I mean, that's a big one. I've been hearing from our public safety folks. That is a big, I've talked to the captains, definitely a big issue, the chiefs as well. Enhance community engagement and maintain high quality, small town feel. That's been an ongoing goal and an objective set by the council. Establish a long-term financial plan. I've heard that over and over. I know that was a previous goal, so I kept that one in. Facilitate responsible economic development. That's kind of what we just covered in the car wash item. So make sure our development is balanced with infrastructure. That is a big deal that we've talked about. That's in our general plan policies, our housing, all of those policies that we have. So we added that one in. And ensure infrastructure keeps up with the needs of the businesses in the community. That's a big one. I hear from the community, making sure we have the needed infrastructure to facilitate development throughout the community. That's a big one. So that concludes staff's report at this time. I'll be happy to entertain any questions, or if you want to add to these or we need these so we can move forward. It gives us the guidelines for establishing our budget when we prepare our budget and bring it to you for the new fiscal year. Thank you.
All right. John?
I'm good with what has been presented, so my motion would be to accept as presented.
Bob?
Yeah, I talked to Dr. Moore a little bit about this when I saw the staff report. I think these are 7 measurable goals. I said, we had chatted about previously, whatever goals we set this year, they have to be measurable and data-driven. We seem to get off key sometimes. So just as long as they're measured, I'm fine. These are all great goals for our community. I think it's a good thing for our town to do this, but just as long as they're measurable and that we check in once in a while and make sure we're meeting them goals. That's all I ask.
Thank you.
We, last year, one of the goals was to establish a financial strategic plan. Where are we at on that? Anybody?
Mayor, Council, my understanding from staff, it was not moved forward last year. I wasn't here, but we definitely could bring that forward. That would fall under, we'd have to get the financing committee back in, set up, and then we can get together with doing a strategic plan, financial plan.
My memories are, I thought it was that we didn't want to outsource it to somebody, but we would work with the expertise in-house to develop some type of a 5, 10, 15-year plan. So basically, because I know last year we had the plan or a goal of establish a long-term financial plan. I just want to see have we established a long-term financial plan? Or are we still working on that? Are we going to just roll that one over into this next fiscal year?
We will definitely, I'll get something back to you guys, and we'll get the committee back together and then get some further direction and go forward from that. If that's the direction of the committee and the council, we'll definitely do it in-house. I mean, I'm sure we got the brain power to put something together to bring it back to the mayor and council for consideration and the committee.
Yeah, so I'm going to echo what my colleague said. Great, these are great goals. I think they're achievable as it relates to the long-term financial plan. I'm not looking for, industry experts' concurrence. I'm looking for what do we as a city does our staff have a plan? Where do we see ourselves in 10 years? How does that project? How does our current revenues project out, and what is needed to support that growth? We know that our public safety contracts are going to continue to increase as raises and the cost of service increase. So we should be planning ahead of that. So I thought that's what we had talked about last year, and forgive my ignorance if I'm missing something, but certainly number 5, establishing a long-term financial plan is critically important, so that we're not kind of just playing a game of chess with only 2 rows in front of us. We should be looking at the entire chessboard so we can be strategic, especially as it relates to our expending taxpayer dollars. So great list of 7. I think I'm going to look forward to checking these off as we move throughout the year.
All right, thank you. Public safety. Can we maybe start looking into maybe getting another traffic officer, or maybe 2?
Mayor, Council, I've already talked to the Yucaipa Police Department, our captain, and talking to, our public safety manager. We're definitely going to be, based on some comments I've heard from you individually, we'll be looking at that our next fiscal year. I've talked to the captain. We're already looking at a 3rd motor, which is a traffic enforcement officer. And I understand the council or the mayor has mentioned you were wanting to add 2 more motors, which would be traffic enforcement. We definitely can look into that and bring something back to you based on the availability of funding and budget constraints or resources that we have available.
So we have 2 right now, 2 traffic enforcements?
My understanding from the Yucaipa Police Department, we have 2. But
And then we have a 3rd one coming?
Captain, can you come to the podium?
All right.
The captain's going to come to the podium.
Can I answer a question, Mayor? We have currently 2. For the first time in a while, we have all of our vacancies filled. So I have 2 on training that should get off in the first week of April-ish, give or take. And then the next 4 will get off somewhere around mid-June. With the extra bodies being fully staffed, I'm going to look at putting 2 in a MET team. And I also want to look at putting an additional one in traffic. I believe I can do it. Me and the lieutenant are going to discuss it and make sure with vacations and unforeseeables, if you will, like injuries, whatnot, I'm going to make sure that our staffing levels are appropriate.
So that would be 3 in our city, right?
3, yes.
And then a 4th one would?
A 4th one would be hard with the staffing that we currently have.
Okay.
So Mayor, under goal and objective, ensure public safety has the necessary tools and resources, we could put that under there and look at it on our budget, and we can bring that forward for consideration, adding to the contract of our existing contract with the Yucaipa Police Department and Sheriff's Department.
I just know that we told the city on Measure S that this was going to go for a lot of our public safety, and so I just want to make sure our money's going that way. so,
We'll definitely bring something back at the budget time and look at working with the captain and the lieutenant, look at adding an additional motor if feasible with our current budget coming up, our new budget, fiscal budget.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Quick question, real quick. The motor cops will be strictly for traffic, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, all traffic is assigned to traffic. If there's something of an emergency nature that happens in the city, obviously we divert them to that issue, but their regular duties are assigned to traffic enforcement.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I'll move approval on the goals and objectives for 2026.
Mayor, I believe we already had a motion from Councilmember Thorpe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, then I will enthusiastically second his motion.
All right, I'm sorry, John. All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Now, I'll open the public hearing for item number 8. Time is 7:01. Is there any public comments on this one?
Mayor, we have no public comments on this item tonight.
Okay,
So Mayor, Council, staff's asking you guys to let us withdraw this item. Oh, you'll have to open the public hearing and close it if there's there's no one wanting to speak. So we're asking to bring it back, renotice it at a later time and bring it back. We need to do a little bit more research. We want to look at, I talked to staff, we want to look at contract cities that are similar size or close thereof and look at their fees and we want to scale those fees, bring them back to you for consideration so the public can see it. In addition to that, we want to leave the public hearing open for at least 30 to 45 days to allow people to review the fees, make comments, because there are a lot of fees that were attached. Again, I just want to reiterate, these are time and materials cost study. These are all, I've worked with Muni Financial, Wildan, who put this fee study together. I looked at it very thoroughly. It does have a lot of detail in it. The methodology, I want to go through it and look through it closely again and look at some of these fees. But again, it's time and materials. These fees weren't just arbitrarily set. They're done by time and material, what it takes a staff member to take in an application, process the application, put it into Tyler. Well, every step is detailed. However, I've heard from at least 1 or 2 individual council members, maybe 3, we want to look at what other cities are charging to ensure that our fees are not on a line with other similar cities and contract cities in the area. Thank you.
all right, perfect. You guys okay with that? So we get a motion to table it?
I'll make the motion.
All right, we got a first?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'll close the public hearing. Time is 7:03.
We're actually going to leave the public hearing open, so your motion was to continue it to a future date. So we're just going to leave it open.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll leave it open then. All right, now on to number 9. So we got another public hearing, item number 9. The time is 7:03. Is there any public comment on this one, or do we, wait a minute?
We can start with the staff presentation if that's
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of council. The item before you this evening is the public hearing for the prioritization of projects for the 26-27 Community Development Block Grant, otherwise known as CDBG. The purpose of this public hearing is to seek direction from council on funding level recommendations for the eligible construction project and public service program proposals. To provide some background, the CDBG program is administered by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, and provides financial resources to states, cities, and counties for the purpose of funding projects and programs that benefit low to moderate income individuals throughout a cooperative agreement with the San Bernardino County Development and Housing Department. Yucaipa receives a share of the county's funding allocation. For fiscal year 26-27, the city of Yucaipa is projected to receive $151,541, which is down from the fiscal year 25-26 amount of $219,563,000. That's approximately a decrease of $68,000. This reduction is due to a 10% reduction in overall funding from HUD in conjunction with the most recent U.S. Census data. Please note that this amount remains an estimate and is subject to changing pending HUD's final allocation announcement. For a project or program to be considered eligible, interested organizations must submit an application to the county for approval. The city submitted one capital project which was approved by the county. This project aims to construct a new ADA-compliant parking space and related ADA access improvements along California Street to improve accessibility at the Yucaipa Performing Arts Center, and has a total project of $128,000. Per program guidelines, City Council can choose to allocate up to 15% of the total funding towards public service programs that serve residents in Yucaipa. 15% of the total 26-27 allocation equates to $22,731. Listed on the screen right now are 6 applicants. The second column identifies the proposed number of Yucaipa residents to be served. The third column, column C, is the amount the city allocated in the program year 25-26. And the fourth column, column D, it shows the amount requested for this fiscal year, for fiscal year 26-27. It should be noted that the total dollar amount being requested for the public service programs is $86,000 and exceeds the total amount available. Therefore, council will need to determine what programs to fund and at what level. This concludes the presentation on this item. We do have representatives from the 6 organizations here in the building tonight and would like to share information on their organizations as part of the application process. I am available for questions afterwards.
Thank you. So we have applications?
Yes, I have speaker cards for 5 applicants here. So we'll start with Carmen, is it Madvino? Followed by Devin Friend. Thank you. And if you can please state which organization you're with.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carmen Madueño, and I'm with Partners Against Violence. I am the Community Outreach Specialist for Partners Against Violence. We're a sexual assault services agency. We service families through means of advocacy, accompaniment, our 24/7 crisis hotline, counseling, and education. Our work aligns closely with the City of Yucaipa's goals in fostering a safe community that is free of violence. I am sincerely grateful for your unwavering support and commitment to our agency. Your funding has empowered us to support our survivors and their families, as well as educate the community. I'm still actively pursuing access to the Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District and would appreciate your support in our partnership to expand prevention efforts at all local schools. Speaking of prevention and education, a recent survivor that we have serviced was actually a teacher. She's a young woman who has dedicated her heart to teach and mold the minds of the youth and our next generation of leaders. She was physically, sexually, and emotionally abused by her husband, and she found the courage to get support, and she found Partners Against Violence. She came to Partners hoping to find a way out of a dangerous situation for her and her son, who was there to witness all the abuse. We were able to help her through her journey by doing things like working on restraining orders, educational sessions with the child, going to court proceedings, and counseling. Today, I can say that she was granted her restraining order, and she is free of that situation, and the child and her proceed to go on their healing journey. So once again, I want to thank the council members for your belief in our mission and your continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Devin Friend, followed by Molly Whitcomb.
Hello, I'm Devin Friend with First Tee Inland Empire. I'm the Development Director and Girls Golf Site Director. First Tee Inland Empire is a youth development organization using the game of golf to teach life skills and character. We've been in Yucaipa since 2017. We operate at the Yucaipa Golf Course. We partner with the city at the Yucaipa Community Center, and we also host after-school elective programming at ILCS and SECA. We host 123 classes in Yucaipa throughout the year and 3 weeks of summer camps. Throughout the entire Inland Empire, we serve about 37,000 children in after-school programming and in-school programming, as well as at golf course locations. We never turn a child away for their inability to pay, and we provide all equipment to eliminate barriers to participation in the game of golf. We're asking Yucaipa CDBG funds to scholarship low-income to moderate-income families and children, and we thank you for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Molly Whitcomb, followed by Elizabeth Williams.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Molly Whitcomb, and I represent Girls on the Run Inland Empire, a nonprofit dedicated to helping young girls develop confidence, resilience, and critical life skills through our research-based program that integrates physical activity with social-emotional learning. Girls on the Run serves 3rd through 8th grade girls, many of whom are navigating challenges related to self-esteem, academic pressure, and mental health. Issues we know are only increasing for youth across our region. Our program creates a safe, structured, empowering space for girls to learn to set goals, build healthy relationships, manage emotions, and believe in their own potential. With the City of Yucaipa's past support through the CDBG funding, we've been able to begin to serve girls, but I echo my colleague over here who mentioned we'd like a little bit more support from the school district to be able to reach girls. We've also found some closed doors there, but we will be in the spring at Community Park, and we have 2 local coaches, Robin Jensen, who was already mentioned tonight for her work with the walking program, and also Stephanie Collins is a local Yucaipa resident. They'll be serving the girls this spring in a park setting. We would like to just thank you again for your past support, and just focusing a little bit that these are not short-term wins. Should we be provided money in the future, we see these really as protective factors that help reduce long-term risk related to academic disengagement, mental health challenges, and social isolation. Looking ahead to 2027, continued CDBG investment would allow Girls on the Run Inland Empire to sustain and grow our impact in Yucaipa. That would ensure that more girls, especially those greatest at risk, would have access to programming with no financial barriers to help them build healthier, more confident future leaders, so we see more women on our city council here. We are proud to partner with the City of Yucaipa and deeply grateful for your commitment to youth, families, and community well-being. Thank you for your time, your leadership, your continued support of our programs, and helping our young people thrive. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Williams, followed by Kyra Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Elizabeth Williams, Regional Manager of overseeing the Yucaipa Branch Library of the San Bernardino County. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to you about our adult literacy program. The goal of our literacy program is to assist adults who want to improve their basic reading, writing, or digital literacy. Learners meet one-on-one with tutors on their own schedules or in small basic computer classes. We adapt the program to their personal goals, that is, whatever they want to be able to do with reading and writing and that they cannot do currently. The goals of our learners vary, but often include writing a resume or applying for a job, learning basic computer and internet skills, reading to their children or helping them with homework, registering to vote, or reading and writing for personal growth. The adult literacy program meets the national objective of public service to those with low moderate income. Our branch serves the community of Yucaipa. Participants are assisted with completing the city's beneficiary qualification statement, in which they document their low moderate family income status. Our adult literacy program serves a community in need. In San Bernardino County, it is estimated that more than 300,000 adults would benefit from basic literacy assistance. This means that they want to be better able to read job applications, voting ballots, medication instructions, or bedtime stories for their children. When they increase their literacy skills, they also become better able to pass on a love of literacy to the next generation. The adult literacy program provides unduplicated services. While the local community college provides citizenship, GED, and ESL classes, our adult literacy program provides free, individualized instructions by volunteer tutors. To truly understand the impact of our literacy program, I'd like to share a story of one of our learners. For more than 2 years, she has shown up week after week to meet with her tutor, determined to improve her reading, writing, and computer skills. With every milestone she reached, her confidence grew, and instead of stopping, she kept setting new goals for herself. What began as learning basic skills became something much bigger. She was able to complete the business paperwork needed to help her family launch a food truck business, something she had dreamed about for years but never believed was possible. Before joining the literacy program at the Yucaipa Library, that dream felt out of reach. Today it is a reality in progress. Her journey reminds us that literacy is not just about learning to read and write, it's about believing in yourself, daring to set new goals, and building a future that once felt impossible. We thank and appreciate the support of the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyra Stewart.
Good evening. My name is Kyra Stewart. I'm the Executive Director of Family Service Association of Redlands. And since 2016, we have had a small satellite office off of 4th Street called the Yucaipa Outreach Project. I'm also the Executive Director overseeing that program and wanted to report some exciting numbers for 2025. We did a lot of great work, thankful to the city support, county support, and our own fundraising efforts of providing services to low-income families, elderly, disabled, in a food or housing crisis. So in 2025, we were able to provide 34 months of rent for 17 families. And of those 17 families, 5 were homeless at point of intake. We issued 22 motel vouchers, which equal to 144 nights at $85 per night. We distributed 973 bags of food. We also distributed Stater Brother gift cards through a grocery gift card grant that we received. 77 families received those, and we also provided wraparound support services in the form of bus passes, gas cards, and hygiene kits for 72 families. And many of those families were new because they, word of mouth in the community. And we also held Thanksgiving food box distributions for 37 households. And we had our first celebratory Christmas party right there on 4th Street, where 30 families got to see Santa Claus, take pictures, have a hot cocoa station. We had music and pizza, and we had a really great time. And we are just thankful for this opportunity and for CDBG funding that supports our case managers that work out of that office. Thank you.
We have questions.
4.
All right.
What outcomes do you track beyond the number of services or meals provided?
Currently, because we are a part-time office, Monday through Friday, 9 to 2, we have mainly service count trackers that daily counts that we provide. In terms of longer term, that's our goal, is to start collecting longer term longitudinal data. That's part of our strategic plan, because really ultimately we want everyone to have self-sufficiency and not use our services. But that's always a work in progress with us.
So that was actually my next question, is how do you avoid creating dependency on these services without parallel progress towards housing or towards long-term goals?
Case managers have to create what's called a stability plan with everybody who walks through the doors, a housing plan, and we have to see self-sufficiency after 3 months of rental assistance, or we can no longer assist them, or we refer them to an employment specialist.
So, and you may have stated this already, but I just want to drive it home for the point. How does your program fit into a broader strategy of reducing people dependent on handouts versus hands up?
Right. Well, first, low-income families in correlation to affordable housing. As we all know, there's a huge stock issue. So if you were to look, at our state or even our region, we have 60,000 houses that are in deficit in terms of low income. So that question is a very complex question, and there needs to be a call to action for all of us to work together to figure that out. I mean, I think that is the quandary right now. But our particular agency, we are in the middle of actually acquiring affordable housing to try to fill the gap, because our board decided no matter how big or how small, we want to work to have affordable housing. That way families who are low income can actually afford their rent and not constantly be in crisis. But it is a work in progress for every agency delivering housing services in the state of California right now, unfortunately. Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? John, one more, ma'am. Oh, Bob. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Nope, we're good.
I don't have any more applicant cards. However, I wanted to ask if there's an applicant here for the Yucaipa Calamasa Family Assistance.
Yes.
Okay.
I apologize. I didn't know I had to fill out a card. I'll do that before I leave. I'm Paul Keelhold from Yucaipa Calamasa Family Assistance. We're located at 35075 Avenue B, Yucaipa. The Family Assistance is a public benefit corporation. It's been in existence for 65 years, and we have been the beneficiary of a few grants the last few years from the city. Those grants are typically used for repairing our facility. It's 65 years old, and I've patched just about everything I can patch, and sometimes we need to get somebody in there and do it right. What we could use help with this year particularly is roofing the building. The building's in pretty decent shape, but the roof is probably 40 years old, so it needs to be redone. We provide services to low income. Our services are more geared towards the short-term benefit, more get fed for the day and get on to the next day. We do not provide long-term services. What's at the facility is a thrift shop and a food pantry. And the thrift store benefits from donations from the community, and what money we make there usually pays the utilities. The food distribution comes from networks all over. They come from the USDA program, State of California programs, the County Warehouse, a few other nonprofits like Inland Harvest, things like that. So we bring the food in, and then we distribute it to people in the community that have either come to us or have been referred to us. And they can pick up commodities and take care of their food needs for a few days at a time. But that's what it is. it's a fairly short-term kind of triage operation. And we thank you for your past support. Any questions?
I have the same questions. What's your organization's stated goals beyond the providing of meals in the short term?
We do not have a goal beyond that. Our goal is getting them through the day.
So how does your meal provisions fit into a broader strategy to reduce homelessness?
It does not. It feeds people that are living on the street. It doesn't solve their whole problem.
So it's designed as a emergency relief, not as a pathway towards reducing
Correct.
homelessness. What outcomes do you track beyond the number of meals served?
We take the census at the counter. So we have typically 2,500 visits a month. That is not necessarily discrete individuals. It's 2,500 visits. We're open 3 days a week. We encourage people to come by once a week. Some people come by a little more than that, I suppose. And then to qualify for some of these other food programs, the state of California has a program where we have to track age information, household income information. And the USDA program, we also have to track household income and age.
So who's eligible to receive food or support from your organization?
Poor people.
Do they have to be residents of Yucaipa?
Pardon?
Do they have to be residents of Yucaipa?
No. The foundation's been in existence longer than there's been a city, so our service area is larger than the city. Our service area is the same as a school district.
So theoretically, somebody who's experiencing homelessness in the city of Redlands can jump on the Omnitrans bus, which has made mobility throughout the county extraordinarily easy, come to Yucaipa on a daily basis, and
Would be Yucaipa, Calamasa school district boundary.
So do you collect data on who's been receiving meals?
Yes.
And if they say they're homeless in Yucaipa, you'll give them a meal?
You can usually tell if they're homeless.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Most of these people are, they need a lot of assistance. And they get it from law enforcement, and we work with the city to get people fed.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more applicants. That concludes the applicant presentations, and I have no public comments.
All right. Okay. So do I close the public hearing now and then go to a vote, or?
Yeah, if you'd like to close the public hearing, and then council discussion would be appropriate at that time.
All right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. To staff, I noticed the Yucaipa Veterans Memorial Ceremony Committee had asked for funds, but it said they didn't qualify as a project.
Correct.
I mean, it's near and dear to my heart as a veteran. There has to be low-income veterans that they're servicing with this ceremony. I don't understand why they wouldn't qualify.
That decision, these applications went to the county, and the county made those designations in regards to whether or not they qualified or eligible or ineligible. When I saw that from the county, I did call them, and it was due to the fact that they didn't meet the HUD national objectives. So they didn't meet a certain percentage or ratio, whatever it may be. When I did call and talk to Rachel about this and let her know, and she's going to be reaching out to the city in regards to the other financial aspects that they have with them in regards to the community activity grant or in the budget process. But that was this decision to be, during them not eligible, was a county decision, and when it was passed down to us.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we can discuss that, Dr. Moore. Maybe we can find another way. It's a valuable ceremony they do every year. There's a lot of veterans out there. I know they're hurting. I thought they would qualify for the 51% low and moderate income. but apparently not. So maybe there's another way we can look at it, maybe
Yes.
donations or something.
Councilmember, this was for the ceremonies. Right, okay. I just wanted to make sure that was
But I
clear.
think they service them, they get them there, they help them. I mean, there's might be more to it, but that's another conversation we can have. But I
Mayor, Council,
appreciate it.
we can definitely look into that, not part of this application, but definitely look into that.
Yes.
Get back to those people and.
No, you're fine.
Do any of these applicants get community activity grants?
Sorry, Mayor, say that again, apologies. And I had my ear.
Apologies.
That's okay. Do any of these applicants get community activity grants?
That's what the city clerk just mentioned to me, so the veterans one, we're gonna look at that. We'll talk to Megan, and then we'll bring that back on the veterans one. But these other ones they're qualifying for the community development block grant money, HUD.
Okay, and do they get the community as well?
We could look at that. This is right now, they're just only for consideration is the HUD money right now, the community development block grant money in front of you.
Okay. All right, I'll close the meeting at 7:31 and open it up for discussion. John?
I want to see what the rest of you have first before I weigh in.
Okay.
So basically, we're going to have to set a dollar amount for certain ones to come up to a total of $22,731, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll make a suggestion. I understand we have less money to work with this year.
Correct.
Okay. Number one, family service, I would say leave it at 5,000. Number two, well, skip 2 for right now. Number 3, the library, I think that should be reduced to 5,000. And number 3 then would just drop down to 12,731, and that would give us our 22,731.
That was your recommendation?
Pardon me?
That's your recommendation like that?
Yeah. that's my
Okay.
recommendation, yeah.
Bob?
I've been through this once before. I watched councils do this over and over. It's so subjective. Because I don't know what data we actually receive on how many people are served. I think we get a report once a year, if I remember, or something from the groups as what they did.
Right, we give it.
Who they serviced, and when do we get that usually?
At the end of the fiscal year.
At the end of the year. And then you're trying to go back and go, okay, they serviced, this many folks in Yucaipa, it was for this. I mean, how do you say no to any of these? I mean, they're all for a good cause. I just say, divide it up by 6. It's what is it, $5,000 a piece or something? So they can all be funded. I mean, there's all good programs here. That's the hard part with this. It always feels so subjective when they do this. Which one do you like? How do you drop it down? And then we go through this number thing every time. I've watched councils do this for years. And I guess in our goals, what are we doing to serve our community? What affects our community the most? Obviously, we have a very vibrant program on homelessness that we're trying to deal with that. So that's always a juxtaposition. Are you bringing more homeless in by providing certain programming? I think that's what the deputy mayor was probably alluding to. I don't want to speak for you. But, I can get that position. And then the other thing, some of these, if you're helping, Partners Against Violence, that's obviously a good cause. There's people who get in situations that we could no way know what it is. And there's somebody they can reach out to and get help. So they're all valid programs. I like First Tee coming to us. I think that does help some young people that maybe couldn't afford equipment get into the beautiful game of golf and maybe get them in a different, a different way of life and maybe stay out of some problems that they get into at school and stuff and maybe redirect themselves. I believe in early intervention. I like that kind of stuff personally. But it's this subjective thing we do of trying to pick and choose and then, my recommendation is divide it by 6 and give everybody something. That probably won't go tonight, but that's kind of where I'm at. Now, it's less for other people, but everybody gets something.
All right, Deputy?
So my recommendation would be $5,682.75 to Partners Against Violence, San Bernardino County Library, Yucaipa First Tee, and Girls on the Run. For the reasons I stated previously, we are working diligently towards having strategic plans towards reducing homelessness. We have partnered and working with Set Free and other organizations throughout the years. In fact, as I'm reading our homeless strategic plan, we've worked with Family Promise of Yucaipa, Calamasa. We have continued to see a marked reduction in our homelessness in the city of Yucaipa because of our hand up, not hand out. The questions I had, I didn't like some of the answers relative to not a lot of information being tracked relative to, is this a long-term solution to a problem? I'm quoted in the News Mirror saying that as an elected official, I won't see the city of Yucaipa turn homelessness into a business model. I stand by that. I don't think that we should be working towards that goal. Our goal should be helping people remove themselves from a situation of homelessness, not encouraging it year over year without the stats backing up the necessity. So my recommendation was $5,680.75. That's the net $22,731 divided by 4, the 4 that I had recommended, which would give us that $22,731.
Deputy Mayor Beaver, what were those for again?
Girls on the Run.
Partners Against Violence, San Bernardino County Library. Sorry, Partners Against Violence, San Bernardino County Library, Yucaipa First Tee, and Girls on the Run.
Yep. Good job, Green.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion on that?
So that was my motion. I recognize, I think you made a motion for yours, but.
I didn't really, I just recommended it.
Okay.
But it really wasn't a motion.
John?
I agree with what Bob said earlier. It's hard to kind of go through and figure out which ones you're gonna cut. That my original thought was to just divide it amongst 6. That's why I wanted to see what everybody else had to say. I think I would hold to that. Dividing the sum amongst all 6 applicants evenly would be my motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to Deputy Mayor on his, and a motion from Bob, right? To divide them between all 6 with this second of...
If Bob's making a motion, yes, I would second his on that.
Were you making a
That's
motion?
originally the way I was kind of thinking.
Well,
anyway.
there's at times that, you know, in our doing the public business, we can talk about things like
Oh,
this.
yeah,
So we're trying to
absolutely.
work something
Yes,
out. So
absolutely.
where we can kind of maybe get to an agreement. My only thing is it's so subjective. And my solution that I offer to the council is give everybody something. I agree with Deputy Mayor. I understood, maybe you didn't hear, I got what you were going with that. And I agree with the homelessness that we're trying to deal with. But everybody has something to offer the community clearly. And it's hard to tell somebody no, in my opinion. So what could we agree on up here that we can live with? I just think give everybody a shot at it. You know, it may not be as much as they want, but there's other avenues they could look for. We've all been there.
No, I certainly, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm what I'm looking at from my seat is what where these government dollars can have the most benefit on the community. And I believe, again, I worked as a crimes against children and sex crimes detective, so I believe Partners Against Violence. I believe in their mission wholeheartedly. The San Bernardino County Library, we've heard them time and time again come and talk to our council relative to the success of their adult literacy program and how they're helping people find jobs and helping people get to the next step. Yucaipa First Tee, I mean, I think I read something that it is the singularly the most underutilized scholarship for colleges, which is women's golf. And raising a little girl myself, you start teaching her how to identify what club she's going to be using, 9-iron, I don't know, okay? But if we can find a way to help these young ladies capture and take advantage of higher education by way of scholarships, that is something I see helping our community, a true benefit. And I think even the speaker said, no, I think it was a different speaker, so I won't go on. I think it was Girls on the Run, but to the same point, helping Girls on the Run. And I really like the message that we're not going to turn somebody away because they can't afford to do it. Now, there are other programs in the community that help people who are disadvantaged and homeless. I've named them off. We have them already. So my thought is, instead of funding those organizations which exist in the community elsewhere, I'd like to see our government tax dollars, it's not ours, but the money that's been allocated to best benefit the city of Yucaipa be force multipliers in these categories, the four that I mentioned. Now, you're right. It's not easy. This is not an easy decision to make, but I'm trying to figure out what's going to be most beneficial to the city of Yucaipa long-term. And those four that spoke, they resonated with me. I think that they are going to be the most benefit to our community, to building a foundation for success, to the young people in our community, to adults who are looking to truly improve their status by learning how to read and taking advantage of the public library, the benefits that they have, and obviously Partners Against Violence. I think that speaks for itself. So again, I'm not the monster. I'm not trying to take away from any one category, but I believe from my seat that if you look at our homeless strategic plan that was adopted a few years ago, there is a plethora of community organizations that are readily available for the homeless in our community and in our region. To that point, I just don't think it's the obligation of government to fund these programs. I think that should be something that is more faith-based, community-driven, but not government tax dollars being expended for that matter.
Can I have some clarification, please? Do we have one motion, two motions, or what?
So I think we're just discussing.
Yeah, we're still discussing.
Okay, I just want to make sure what we're doing.
What I was thinking, Councilmember Woosley, is this is a time where maybe we can agree on something if we just kind of talk about it a little bit. Because I don't want to say no to any of these. I'm sure you guys don't either. But everybody's making good points. What can we agree on that will satisfy it to some respect? I mean, everybody made good points tonight. Does anybody have an idea other than I've divided up and everybody gets equal?
I think I am. I'm with Deputy Mayor on this particular item. There is a lot of people out there that donate a lot of money to homeless, and there's money out there for them to get. I raised 3 daughters myself. I think that he had a lot of good points, and so I think I'm going to go his way.
You're all looking at me. Well, I mean, we can't sit here all night. I mean, that my original thought was to go evenly across the board, but if we got a different, 5 different, or a couple different opinions on this, so if the consensus is to go with Beaver's suggestion, I can go with that. I agree with Bob in the aspect that if we could do something for the other 2, it doesn't have to be to the same dollar amount. It could be a lesser dollar amount. I think giving them a little bit to help with their endeavors, and maybe we put a priority on some of these others. And you're right, Justin, the stuff with the library, and they have, and the Partners Against Violence, both of those are very, very key entities. So if we wanted to massage those numbers at all, great. If not, I could go with what you've presented. I ultimately, my first thought, that's why I didn't want to go first. I wanted to see what everybody else landed on, because my initial thought was just to split it down the middle. I mean, not down the middle, but I mean, 6 ways. That was mine too, actually. So, but if that's the will of the council, I could go with it, but that's not my first initial thought.
I would go with deputy mayor. I think that's the best way to go.
Excuse me.
I thought it would come back to me. So, I mean, this is what we should do. We should be talking about things. I'm fine with the deputy mayor's suggestion. We've got to figure out a way to do this every year where it doesn't feel subjective and we're just, picking what we think is the best. We have to have some data to support what we're doing beforehand. Because it's I'm trying to remember, when was the last time we got the report? Do you guys remember? Was it in June? When did we get what they were doing?
It was late summer, so after the end of the fiscal year.
Maybe next year, bring that attached to the report of the request if it's the same thing, so we can see that beforehand and then go, okay, this is how many people they served, this is how many people were Yucaipa folks they served. This is great. We're, indigent people needed something. They had no other way to get some food. These are all good causes in life, but also taking into account, like the deputy mayor said, we have a very vibrant program working on homelessness. I'm sure Trevor will agree with me on this. And so you're trying to balance these things. And I'm not trying to do political speak. It's just hard to say no to some of this stuff because they're all good causes. But maybe next year have that data attached to, so when we read the staff report, we can say, okay, this gives me a little more data. It tells me what's working and what maybe isn't as sufficient as we think it is. So I will agree with Deputy Mayor's suggestion for this year, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
We do have a community activity grant coming up, right? That's coming up pretty soon, or?
Yes, well, and some of these organizations could qualify as well.
Okay.
We'll work with them on that as well and go forward with that. But as we have to look at and see if they qualify.
All right. So we have a motion from Deputy Mayor. Yes,
Quick
sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
When we bring those other grants back later, in future, can we look at the two programs and see the organizations that qualify for both and if they have a history of getting from both?
We most certainly can, and bring that data as well. Definitely.
Because then I think, is that what you mentioned earlier, Justin? Okay, I'm sorry.
I think somebody else mentioned it, but yes, that was a good point.
Because if they're getting on one, not that we don't want to provide for them, but if they're getting twice and there's another organization that maybe we could help that's not getting helped and they're getting it 2 times, maybe that helps out with the decision making.
All right. So we have a motion for deputy mayors, and we have a second.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any council members have any business to report? You want to start with Bob?
Just touch a little bit on the Public Safety Committee, and then Deputy Mayor will probably go a little more in detail on it. But we had our Public Safety Committee meeting on February 2nd. I thought it was just a great meeting for us to have, to get together with our public safety folks and Trevor and the group. And we had a big agenda to discuss. And there's no doubt, I mean, I got to be honest, you got 2 law enforcement people sitting on the Public Safety Committee. So we're going to support, obviously. But the captain was, pretty straight, and Trevor and Fire Chief Malinowski, where they're at on staffing, what the issues are. We're not going to release all staffing issues, so. But, we could use some more help. There's no doubt about it. I like the mayor's idea of including maybe some more traffic officers. We did talk about that a little bit. It looks like the captain has training handles, so it looks like them folks will be done pretty quick. Get them on the street. But it's like everything else, training. Somebody gets injured. I mean, you're always constantly trying to fill all the shifts. But for a city our size, I think we come away with that we need some more help. And I like that you're putting a MET team together. Most people may not know what that is, but that multiple enforcement team will be able to do many things that you can use them for. Can tie in to help the other units. That'll leave some of the issues on patrol. Obviously, we've had a lot of traffic issues lately that have been in the paper and stuff, so we are addressing that, and that was very much, the deputy mayor talked about that a lot in the meeting. I think also we talked about equipment, Starlink, et cetera, maybe our communication issues that we need to deal with. And I just appreciate the openness that we had in the meeting. And Dr. Moore was there and got to hear our first meeting together, and he kind of knew the direction we were going. I think code enforcement's doing a good job, but they need to be staffed effectively too, and how are we going to lead that management? It's all one thing holistically when you're trying to deal with crime. So I'm just proud of the team that works together. I'm sure Deputy Mayor will have something to say about that too.
Yeah, so I want to, number one, our public safety has done phenomenal with the resources they do have. The stats they've put up over the last year continue to be impressive. Our city just has grown, and it continues to grow. The mayor put out a press release following the second collision relative to Rialto PD coming and helping us out. That was huge. We appreciate that. A little bit of pushback on the social web about, you know, spending more money on part-time solutions. That was OTS funded. That didn't come from our general fund, right? That was something from the state of California's Office of Traffic Safety has committed funding to help us with that. So
Deputy Mayor, that's my understanding.
yeah, so we're not spending your tax dollars. What we're doing is being strategic with the regional partnership. On that note, Mr. City Manager, thank you for reaching out to the Chief of Police. I believe it was, or maybe City Manager over there, thanking them for their assistance. I'd like to take a step further, just because I truly believe that they came in and helped us out when the publicity on the matter was high for us. So unless there's any objections, I'd like to actually have city draft a letter to their city council, thanking them from us to them for, you know, utilizing or being participants in a regional traffic program, so that we can be taking advantage of their resource. On that note, I got a phone call from one of our city our citizens demanding that we start paying for motorcycle cops. San Maria County doesn't have a motorcycle program anymore. That's right. So it's not something that we have done away with as a council. That's just from a public safety standpoint, they're not as safe as 4 wheels on the ground. 2 wheels are dangerous by themselves, let alone when you're fighting crime. So that was a decision made by the sheriff years ago. But that's not to say we can't take advantage of certainly more staffing to safeguard our community. I did want to touch, I talked about it briefly in the beginning of the meeting after we had our treasurer's report, but we're going to have maybe some difficult conversations over the next couple months about our ability or maybe inability to quickly respond to medical emergencies in our community, just because our firefighters they're getting worked. And I'm the first one to make jokes about the fire department eating till they're tired, sleeping till they're hungry, and washing their red trucks. I make fun of them all the time. But when I see the stats, and they're not just out rescuing cats from trees, they're out there, running call to call. And I used to laugh about how the cops are awake all night waiting for the calls, and the firemen are sleeping in their beddy buys waiting for the calls as well, right? Except for our firefighters are not sleeping at night. They're working 24 straight hours, and they're working 24 straight hours because they're unable to get some sleep because the calls are just nonstop. While I can have some friendly, joking rivalry with the fire departments, I can also sympathize with maybe are they being overworked and underpaid in our community, and the answer I think is yes. So we need to have some conversations about where we're going to be spending money to help alleviate that burden, not just on them, but truly create some life-saving, increase in life-saving capacity within our community. So thank you to our sheriff's captain, fire chief, city manager for getting that, and our public safety manager for getting that ad hoc committee together. Some questions were answered, and I think we are more prepared to, as a council, to address the growth of public safety in our community. But the bottom line is, and I hope we address it to our colleagues on the dais, we're going to need some more fire resources. We need some more law enforcement resources. Those are not cheap. Safety is expensive, and we either have to pay for it, or we have to be comfortable with seeing our city manager on national news talking about traffic collisions in our city. I don't want to see that, so I'd like to take a more aggressive approach to driving down all manner of crime, not just vehicular crime, but also public safety crime. So that's all.
John? All right, Ms. Woolsey.
Phil, I'm so glad you got back in time. I know you're just dying to hear my report.
My pen is ready.
I know.
Let's go down the list.
Okay, let's do it. January 28th, the Sigma Water Meeting. The 29th, the League of California Cities Luncheon. City Manager Moore attended with me. Bob was there also. And in March, they will be here in Yucaipa to have their luncheon. So we're working on that. February 3rd, Yucaipa Women's Club. Councilwoman Molina from Calamasa and I were invited to their monthly luncheon to speak about what was going on in our cities. Their theme was Tale of Two Cities. So that was fun. We had a good time. I let her go first. I told her, let the pro go first, you know, so I can learn from her. So, but we had a good time. And it seemed to be real well received. And that afternoon, I also attended the Water District meeting. And on the 4th, it was Omnitrans, SBCTA, and a SCAG briefing. And then I didn't put the date down, but Thursday, which would have been the next day, was the Chamber of Commerce breakfast. And after that, I had a Zoom meeting, the SCAG meeting, and I gave Fermine a report on that. Are those informational at all for you? Do they help?
Yes, they are. Thank you.
Okay, good. And then on the 7th, I did the YMRA meeting Saturday. And Anna and Kim came and spoke and answered a lot of questions they had in regards to mobile home issues. And this afternoon, we did the ribbon cutting for the wine lady, and we didn't even get to stay and taste any wine. But it was fun. There was a good crowd there.
All right. Well, we have an upcoming festival, don't we? And which one was that? That's Music and Arts in May, right? Okay. And then we have a run coming up in April. So we got quite a few things going on. And I think they're all on the calendar now, right? On our apps stuff. And so anybody that's listening or watching, you can get on your Yucaipa app and see exactly what ribbon cutting's going on and everything that's happening in Yucaipa. So I did.
Oh, Mayor, Council, just want to mention we're working on the spectacular fireworks and show. And
that's right.
That's right. We're working on, I'll just let it out there, monster trucks, stunter, dirt bikers, and parachutists and all that for the 250th anniversary of the U.S.
That's great. So I did go to the wine ribbon cutting today, and like I told them, I told my guys at work that I was going to the wine ribbon cutting, and they wanted to go, and I said it wasn't this kind of wine, it was this kind of wine. So, but anyways, other than that, City Manager, do we have any other announcements?
None, Mayor, Council.
All right, next regular meeting is Monday, February 23rd. Somebody ripped off my paper. Yeah, I'm kidding. Monday, yeah, it is February. Right. So Monday, February 23rd, 2026, 6 o'clock. I'll adjourn this meeting at 7:58.